Good morning, church. Pray that you have a joyful day. And today we're going to be studying out of Psalm 21. And this follows the same theme as Brother Josh talked about on Friday out of Psalm 20. And it read, "May the Lord answer you in the day of trouble," meaning that you evidently have already prayed for this situation and He's going to answer that. And may the name of the Lord of Jacob defend you. So He's asking for being protected and defended prior to battle or whatever the situation may be. And today in verse 1 it says, "The king shall have joy in your strength, O Lord, and in your salvation how greatly shall he rejoice." And King David had many reasons to rejoice and many reasons to be thankful for his salvation. Perhaps this came from protection and success in battle or some other deliverance that he had in his life. And as we get down to verse 2, it says, "You have given him his heart's desire and have not withheld the request of his lips." So God has answered David already, even though maybe he's not in that situation yet. And we find that and I think we can probably say unanswered prayer should be regarded as a warning sign that there might be a problem in one or more of the reasons for unanswered prayer. And it's not abiding in Jesus, or we're disobedient or selfish in our prayers, or we're not asking right or in God's will, or we may not be praying. It says that you have not because you ask not. So as we get down to verse 3 here, and I want you to listen to this, what it has to say here. It says, "For you meet him with a blessing of goodness." So David has been met with blessings of goodness before he asks for it, before he gets there. In other words, it comes to meet him. What a wonderful way to live life. God's goodness and grace comes to meet us all the time. And we know that the grace of his love loves us before we ever loved him. And we could say that the grace of restraint keeps us back from committing sin that would put even us more out of reach of the gospel. And of course, salvation comes out to meet us, bringing us the goodness of God and making us able to receive the gospel. And as for our ministry, it prepares us in many ways for what God has for us in the future and of service. And I think about the shoebox services that they do, that it prepares the ground where we will work before we ever get there. And I know situations where I know Ruth and I have gone out shopping times or running different errands and so on, and I really dread it. So I usually start praying, "God bless this time, bless this day and what we have to do, and may it go well." And somehow I get through that and I get to the end and I say, "Wow, that went really well." And I am often surprised with that. And I know God has blessed that because the dread that I had. But anyway, God answers prayers like that. I think the Lord He does, or I might not get anything done. And then He says in the next verse, "You set a crown of pure gold upon his head." And that's the last part of verse 3 there. And we know David was anointed as king at a very young age, as a young lad. And we know that he became king at the age of 30. And he could have forcefully taken the crown because he had more than one opportunity to slay Saul, take crown. But he chose not to because he knew he was God's anointed. And he chose it in God's timing and in God's way because he loved God and he was a man after God's own heart. So through that, God was able to bless that in his timing. He put that crown on him. Well, about run out of time, but let me say to you, keep praying and preparing yourself for those things to come, for they're coming, hardships, and then maybe God will meet you with that goodness and that joy that could prepare you to go right through it, and maybe you will realize the impact of what could have been. May God bless you.